So meet Robert Redford, the older version. So here he is at the more towards the end of his life. And so let's see what his face tells us. At the end of his life, he was even more of a king face. He was a king face as a young individual, but those jaws even got larger. So again, natural leader sees both sides of the fence, very, very fair. Now, the right and left eyes, a little different than when he was younger. The right eye, again, is what we show to the world. It's our public persona. It's our mother's influence. The left is our true inner private self, and it's our father's influence. His right eye, very focused, but he's very caring. There's just a gentleness about his spirit. But when we look at his left eye, we see anger. I know I've gotten crankier as I've gotten older. Maybe it's the norm. I wish it were not so. But if you just cover that right eye and just look at the left eye, you see anger in that eye. Temples are very indented. Temples represent your spleen, but your ability to be happy. And the longer you live, the more things happen in your life that kind of make you unhappy. There's losses in your life. Events occur. If you're politically active one side or the other, you're going to be more annoyed by those kind of things. So we just sometimes have a harder time finding joy, and that's what his temples are telling us. Eyebrows, very thick eyebrows. This is a sign of a very strong constitution. He inherited a very strong body. That's why he lived until 89 years old. Eyebrows are about passion, temperament, pride, and confidence. They're also unequal heights. He had this early on, so this indicates, again, he's moody, a little oversensitive. Again, may have had an issue with his parents. The left eyebrow is kind of angled downward. This is something you'll see often in actors, athletes. This is about when you get that angle, whether it's right or left, it's about being hypercritical. And he became more critical the older he became. I don't think that's an abnormal finding, but he was probably very critical of himself. And that you'll see common in, again, athletes and actors because they are very critical of themselves. They always want to perform at a high level. Eyes are very narrowed now. Early on, his eyes were much larger. Now they're narrowed. This indicates acutely perceptive abilities. Just he sees things other people don't see. They're also unequal size. I call this the Lieutenant Columbo look. Columbo would look at that one eye kind of narrowing, and he would have that energy. I know you're guilty. I'm going to catch you in a lie. And again, he spent his life with a very critical eye and had to make decisions based on what he was seeing, and he was hyper vigilant and kind of paying attention to things. His eyes are not as wide set as they were. So as he grew older, he became more focused. Now, we know there's reasons for that. And the main reason is notice how deep these lines are. They were hardly there as a young person, and we typically don't see them in very young people. But these lines are called falling lines, nasal labial lines, falling, F-A-L-I-N-G. Falling means purpose and spiritual strength. This man found his purpose. He lived his purpose. He had amazing spiritual strength. It had nothing to do with religion. It's a little longer on that right side, which indicates a little bit of stress. Did he have some stress with female in his life? I don't know. I don't know well enough to make that call, but it did get a little longer on that right side. Underneath his eyes, there's some lines that are developing here. These are adrenal lines. Again, this has to do with stress, and it's never are we under stress or are we not, is do we adapt or do we maladapt to stress? Probably some maladaptation to stress based on those lines showing up. Nose tip, still got the gourmand nose. He still is a quality over quantity individual. And then, of course, the jaw. The jaws even got stronger than when he was a young lad. So that is Robert Redford. I will miss him tremendously. We're asked over and over and over again, can you read my face? The answer is yes. Matter of fact, I'd love to read your face. All you got to do is go to WTFWhyTheFace.com. Now, there's several options there. It's not a costly thing to do. First option is I can simply give you a written report. It'll be 7-8 pages long. I will read your face. I will go over psychological aspects, traits that are positive, traits that are negative, also some health issues. That is one fee. The second option is you'll also get a 7-8 page written report. Plus, I will physically call you. Questions will come up. I usually spend 30 to 60 minutes on the phone with you. Obviously, it's a little higher price because it's going to be more time involved. But a lot of questions will come up and you'll say, okay, I got that. But what does that really mean? And I can kind of explain a little more in depth. The third option is, again, 7 to 8 pages. I'll call you. But we can also discuss some options. If there's some things that you're concerned with, we can kind of point you in a direction. I can't physically treat you, but I can certainly make some suggestions when you talk to your own doctor. Pay attention to this or whatever it might be. So if you're interested, please upload your faces and we will be happy to read them for you. Would love to do it.